Now let's look at the processes, right? Coming to schedule management processes. As usual, we always start with the first process, which is plan schedule management, which is the typical process that focuses on creating the subsidiary plan, like what we did in scope management. In scope management, we created a scope management plan. Similarly, in schedule knowledge area, we are going to create a schedule management plan. So what is schedule management plan? It is a procedure. It is a step-by-step process where we are clearly writing down how to create the schedule. Okay, how to create the schedule. So in schedule management plan, you are going to write down what is the scheduling software you are going to use, what is the scheduling methodology you are going to use, how you are going to estimate the durations, how you are going to sequence the activities, what technique are you going to use, what methodology are you going to use. Okay, and then finally, how to develop the schedule, how to present the schedule, how to monitor the schedule, how do we know that the project is on schedule or behind the schedule. This is what is done in schedule management plan. So this is the first output from the knowledge area. So always every knowledge area, the first output is always the subsidiary plan, where it is scope management plan, schedule management plan, cost management plan, right? Always the first output is the subsidiary plan. Now, what is the second step? The second step is called define activities. So what is define activities? It's actually continuing from scope management. If you remember yesterday, in scope management, we have created the work breakdown structure, correct? We have created WBS, and I told you in WBS, the last element is called work packages. Each branch, I told you the last element is called work packages. Now I'm going to break down each work package into even smaller items. So that smaller item is called activity list. Let's see what is it actually, right? So basically what happens is we have this process called define scope, right? From define scope, we create what is called as, what is output from define scope? It is called project scope statement, right? So this is the output from define scope process. And this is what we took and created our work breakdown structure. So the next step is create WBS. And in create WBS process, this is where we took the project scope statement and we broke it down or decomposed it into work packages. Okay? Of course, the output is scope baseline, but what we are more interested is the work packages. So we get the work packages from WBS. How? We perform decomposition. We decompose the scope statement. So this is a process. This is a process. Now in schedule knowledge area, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the work packages as an input, okay, which is a process here, define activities. And then I'm going to further decompose it. I take the work packages, further decompose it, and then I'm going to come out with activities. So what is the technique used here? Once again, decomposition is the technique. So two levels of decomposition. The first level you decompose into work packages. The second level you decompose into activities. In a real project, you may not see this difference. Generally, we might continue without stopping or without like having a break. It's always like you take the project and then break it down to the level of activities. But if you try to understand the concept, it's actually work packages first and then activities second. Now, what are activities? Now, let's try to see with some examples. Let's take, for example, I'm moving into a new apartment. Right? Let's say I bought a new apartment. I'm moving to a new apartment. Now, there could be many work I need to do. Let's take, for example, I need to do some carpentry work. Let's say the builder has given me just a bare flat, nothing inside. Right? He has constructed all the civil work, but he has not done any kind of like wardrobe or anything for me. So I need to do some work. So I think carpentry is one work I need to take up. Then let's say I also need to take up some electrical works. Some electric. This is also has to be taken up. Right? This is another work package. Let's say, for example, I need to do some housewarming works. Right? Maybe I need to do some puja. I need to invite my friends. Right? Maybe like housewarming. So these are all some of the work packages in my project, right? My project is what? Moving to a new house. And of course, it will also involve like shifting items from my old house, right? That could be another work package we are talking about, right? Transport existing goods from the present to the new one, right? So you could have multiple work packages. Let's just look at like these are some of the things that need to be done. Now, this is done at the previous knowledge area where we have different work packages. Now, what we do in schedule management is we are going to break this carpentry further down. Now, let's say what are the things I need to do in carpentry? Maybe like I need to install wardrobe or bedroom one. Right? That could be one of the activities I'm looking at. Maybe I need to install wardrobe for bedroom 2. I need to install kitchen cabinet. I need to install a shoe rack. Install TV cabinet. Install like a bookshelf. So I also need to finalize the carpenter, right? Without carpenter, I cannot do all of these things. I need to finalize the carpenter. I need to buy some photo frames. Right? I want to hang some nice photo frames. Right? So I want to buy some photo frames and maybe like paintings. Right? And maybe I want to buy this. And then once I buy, I also need to fix the photo frames. Paintings, right? I want to use the carpenter to fix the photo frames and paintings. Right, so these are some of the things probably I'm looking at from the carpentry work. Right, of course you can think of many more items, but just to give you an example, let's say these are the items I want to do. Now, similarly, electrical works will have several items. Right, normally like if you buy a new apartment, normally they don't give you any kind of fittings actually. They will give you the electrical wires, they will give you the switchboards, but they may not have lights or fans. So maybe like I want to install lights. Okay, of course, before that I need to buy the lights. I need to buy fans. And then I need to install fans. I need to buy air conditioners. I need to install air conditioners. I need to finalize the electrician. Right? I need to finalize the electrician. Unless I finalize the electrician, I cannot do the work. Right? Let's say all these things I need to do. Now, these are considered as activities. Whereas carpentry is a work package, all the items I have listed, each of them is considered as an. That is what we are trying to do now. We are going into details. But work package, what is the level we stop at work package? It is at the level where you can delegate the work. For example, as long as I find a carpenter, it's easier for me to give it to him. Okay, you are in charge for this. So I don't want to break below that in a work package. Similarly, electrical works, I just want to find an electrician and then give it to him. Okay. That is the level you want to break. You don't want to break beyond the level in work package. Work package should be some kind of items that has a more work, but at a higher level. So this level here, until here, is done in scope management. Anything below here is done in schedule management. Right? You need to understand this difference. Now going further, so the output from different activities, there are three major outputs. One is activity list. Second is activity attributes. The third is milestone list. So what is activity attributes? Attributes means the properties of activities. So what are the properties we want to include? What are the properties that are important that we need to capture? We will capture later, but now we need to define what are the properties. Like for example, if you are using Microsoft Project, what columns you need to add? Maybe like I want to add the name of the activity. I need to have an activity ID. I need to add maybe the start date, finish date, dependencies, right? Percentage complete. Some remarks column, maybe what you want to add, you can define here. What are the attributes? What are the properties we need to include? So that is called activity attributes. Then the third one is milestone list. So what is a milestone? What is the difference between milestone and activity? What is the difference between activity and a milestone?
Activity is a type of work. Milestone is a time frame.
But both are time frame, right?
Yeah, sir.
But what exactly is the difference between activity and milestone?
It's the target date for the completion of the particular activity, milestone.
Okay, normally we don't fix for activity. Maybe at a higher level. For example, like carpentry. Right? Maybe start of carpentry work could be a milestone. Finish of carpentry may be a milestone.
Yeah, it's a milestone is the subsequent activity to start. It's a constraint.
Yeah, it could
Without
be a
this,
constraint.
we cannot start the
Yeah,
next
it could
activity.
be a constraint. It could be a constraint, or it could be more like a significant achievement in the project. So normally, if you see your projects, normally they will define some milestones. For example, when we did Chennai Metro Rail, there were like 15, 20 milestones defined by the customer. Okay. Maybe like sometimes we call it as the key dates in the project.
Yeah.
Okay. KDs, right? We have defined it as key dates. So key dates are nothing but milestones, which are mainly to monitor some interim goals in the project. Okay, interim goals. So maybe like you want to monitor like startup design could be a milestone. Completion of foundation could be a milestone. Completion of first floor roof could be a milestone. Completion of the civil work could be a milestone. Completion of, let's say, landscaping could be a milestone. So milestone could be anything that basically you want to define some targets so that you can monitor the project. Instead of course, there will be a target to finish the project itself, but that is sometimes difficult to monitor, right? For example, if you are doing a 5-year project and then you say, oh, I want to finish the project in 60 months. If that is the only target, then it's very, very difficult for us to know the exact progress of the project. We may not realize how much we are falling behind. So it's always important to have interim milestones. Okay, by the end of 3 months, our design should be completed. That could be a milestone we are talking about. In 6 months' time, our launching shaft should be ready. So that is a milestone. The tunneling should start in 9 months' time. The TBM machine should start boring in 9 months. So that is a milestone we are fixing. So you could have multiple milestones in your project. But of course, normally we restrict it to around 15, 20 kind of number of milestones. Okay, if you go too much also, it's very difficult to monitor. But normally, like at a high level for senior management, we fix only 15 to 20. Of course, at a project team level, you may have more milestones, but to the senior management, we normally fix around 15, 20 milestones. So the difference between activity, normally activity will have a duration, right? Normally, if you look at your schedule, the activities will look like a rectangle. Okay, this is how an activity will look like. This is how an activity will look like. But whereas a milestone will look like a diamond, like this. And normally milestones are considered not to have any duration. They are considered as 0 duration. Activities will have duration. The length of the bar indicates the duration. The longer the bar, the longer the duration, right? For example, if this is like this, maybe this could be representing 10 days. Whereas this is smaller, probably this might be representing 5 days. So the activity is normally shown in a rectangle, whereas the length of the rectangle or the length of the bar indicates the duration of the activity. Whereas milestone is normally shown as a diamond, and typically this is considered to have 0 duration. Any milestone is nothing but is a dot in the calendar. It's just a dot. You achieve that is considered as complete. It doesn't have a time on its own. The activities will have time, but milestones will not have any time. Okay, important to understand this difference. Now this is the first process. I need to define the activities, come out with a list of activities. What is the second step? The second step is to sequence the activities. Of course, it's not sufficient for you to come out with a list of activities. You need to define which is to be done first, which is to be done second, which is to be done third. What is the sequence? Can I do some activities in parallel? Is there anything stopping me from doing in parallel, right? So we need to look at that. Say, for example, let's take this example. Now I have written down this, whatever came to my mind, I started typing. But after typing this, I might look at this and then decide, oh, okay, before installing wardrobe, I cannot do this unless I finalize the carpenter. So maybe I think that this has to be done first. This is the most important work. If I don't have the carpenter, I cannot do anything. So maybe this should be the first one I need to do. And then maybe like, yeah, this is optional. Maybe like whatever I need to buy, maybe I want to buy upfront so that everything is ready for me to do. And then maybe I maybe like decide, okay, I want to do, okay, maybe bedroom one, let's do that first. I can have one room where I can start staying, and then maybe I want to do the kitchen cabinet second. Let's say this is urgent for me. So if one bedroom and one bedroom and kitchen is ready, I don't mind. They are working in other rooms or preparing other things, I don't mind. Right? Let's say this is the sequence I want to do. Right? This is the next step. What has to be done first? What has to be done second? Then what can be done parallel? Depending on how many teams the carpenter has, whether he can do wardrobe and kitchen cabinet simultaneously or he should do one by one, we need to decide. Similarly, these also we need to reorganize. We know that electrician has to be the first one that has to be finalized. Right, even before I buy lights or fans, maybe I want to finalize the electrician because I want to get some advice from him. Hey, this big hall, should I put one tube light or two tube lights? Okay, what is the power for the tube light, right? What is a watt, right? Should I buy 40 watts or 32 watts or whatever, right? We need to talk to him. So that way we can do the work better. So maybe finalize the electrician and then maybe I want to go and purchase things. So these might be the things that need to be purchased. Maybe that comes second. So all the items, maybe I just go for one shopping spree and buy everything. And then I can ask them to start installing it. So this is what we are going to do in the next step. First step, coming out with a list of activities, just whatever comes to your mind, start writing it down. And the second step, put them in the right sequence. Which has to be done first, which has to be done second, put them in the right sequence. So what is the third step? In the third step, for each of these activity, we need to estimate how much time it will take. Finalize the carpenter, how long it's going to take. Right? We need to decide. Maybe like finalize carpenter. Maybe I need about 1 week to finalize the carpenter. Buy photo frames, paintings, maybe like 1 day I think I can go and buy it. Install wardrobe, maybe like, let's say 5 days he needs. Install kitchen cabinet, maybe he needs 7 days. Right? Install bedroom for 5 days. Install shoe rack, maybe 2 days. Install TV cabinet, maybe 3 days. Bookshelf, maybe 3 days. Fix photo frame and paintings, maybe 1 day. Maybe you may have like fixed curtains. Maybe you can have few other things that you want to do. So the next step is to estimate the duration. The first step, coming out with a list of activities. The second step, sequencing them. The third step, estimating the duration for each of the activities. So this you may be in discussion with carpenter, you may come out with the duration. Because sometimes you may not be able to exactly estimate. So you need to talk to him, you need to negotiate with him. Sometimes he will say, oh, it will take 2 months, 3 months to finish the project. You need to negotiate with him. And come out with a duration. So this is the third step. Okay, what is the third step? Estimate durations. Of course, when you estimate durations, you need to know what are the resources available. So the carpenter has to tell you how many resources he is going to bring. Is he going to bring 1 team, 2 team? Right? So this inputs comes from resource knowledge area. Okay, of course, PMI has split resources separately from scheduling. But in a real project, unless you know the resources, you cannot estimate the time. Or the other way, okay, either way is possible. You fix the time and then ask for resources. So either way is acceptable, but maybe you may have to do a couple of times, right? 2, 3 iterations it might go. You might estimate the duration, ask for resources. Then your organization might say, no, we don't have resources, adjust the duration, right? So it could happen. Or the organization might tell you, okay, we have only 3 excavators, Manik, just plan for 3 excavators. Don't ask any extra excavator. That also is possible. Sometimes they will say, okay, we have only one diaphragmal grab. You need to plan for one diaphragmal grab. Then accordingly, I need to estimate the durations. If I need to do how many panels I need to do, each panel, how many days it's going to take, right? How many grabs I have, right? Accordingly, I need to estimate the durations. So both way are acceptable. You finalize the resources and then estimate the durations, or estimate the durations and ask for the resources. But typically in PMBOK guide, what they are saying, typically the resources become input to durations. Okay, so more or less, you know what are the resources available in the organization, plan accordingly. But of course, on top of that, you need some additional resources, then you need to ask for it. Okay, so that is the next step, estimate durations. The output of sequence activities is called a network diagram. So it's called a schedule network diagram. We will see later how to draw a network diagram. And the output of estimate durations is called a duration estimate. So that's nothing but the number of days you are writing. 7 days, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day. Right? It can be in days, it can be in hours. It's up to you. And then basis of estimates. So what is basis of estimates? This is the document in which you capture how you have come out with the estimate. Like for example, if you are submitting the schedule to the customer or to your consultant, they will ask you, hey, can you explain how did you arrive at this number? I want to know. Can you give me a supporting document? In our projects, we used to call it as narrative statement, where we need to explain very clearly how we have arrived at the durations. What are the assumptions we have made? What are the sequences we have considered? What is the methodology we have considered? So normally we don't agree just the schedule that is submitted for review. We also ask for the supporting document, which is normally in our projects, we used to call it as narrative statement. PMI calls it as basis of estimates. So basis of estimates is nothing but a supporting document where you capture all the assumptions, where you capture all the say productivity rates. In case if you are using some references, what are the references? Right? So all this is captured in this document called basis of estimates. On what basis you have arrived at the duration? You are telling me 7 days. On what basis you are telling 7 days? Right? You need to have a supporting calculation or supporting statement or supporting document. So that is called the basis of estimates. And once I know the list of activities, once I have sequenced them, once I know the duration, now it is time for me to find out what is the total duration of the project. How long is the project going to take? What is the critical path? What is the float available, right? So I need to find out the total schedule. So that is the last process, develop schedule, where I take inputs from all the previous processes. I take the activity list. I take this network diagram. I take the duration estimate. And then I come out with a final schedule. This is where we are going to get the bar charts. This is where we are going to tell our sponsor how many days we need to complete the project. That is finally the project like schedule baseline. So what is schedule baseline? Once again, the zero, right? Revision zero schedule where you prepare, get it approved, and then you can start working on the project. Revision zero schedule. And once I have the schedule, of course, after the project starts, I can monitor the schedule based on the schedule baseline. You have a schedule, then you can start executing the project. Some activities you might fall behind, some activities you might be going ahead, right? So compare and find out what is the difference. So that is done in control schedule process. So this is what is done overall in schedule management.